All right, so we're looking at how do we build sessions with Golang, and this is video 2 in the process. And so if you want to find those videos, you go to YouTube, Todd McLeod, and look in there. I don't know what I'm going to call these videos yet. I guess since you're watching this, you might want to find them. We could figure that out. So I'm just going to go into my documents and go into OBS recordings. And holy cow, I've got a lot of them in there. And I'm going to switch this to be, that is 4, 5, 18, 2017, 04, 05, 04, 05, 04. That one is the one I'm doing right now. This is the new one. So I'm just going to call this Golang web session video number 1. So that's what you look for at YouTube Todd McLeod. We're in video number 2 right now. And follow me on Twitter. You could always, I'm always posting about web development, front end and back end. So that's my Twitter account right there. And then also, the code we're using is GitHub goes to 11, Golang Web Dev, just to get everybody orientated. And then also check out greatercommons.com. It's an awesome website. I'm building some friends. It's going to be launching soon to help people learn things and make money from what they know, right? Teach others and also just get jobs. So that's what it does. Brings teachers, students, and employers together. Greater Commons. Because it's awesome. It's for the greater good. So going back to Golang, we're creating sessions, and we're in this directory right here at the Golang Web Dev 0010, 46, 45, 02 main. That's where we're at. And I got a call, so we had to end the last video, but now we're picking back up here. So index, with index there, what's the next step? So we check to see if there is a cookie. All right, we look there. Is there a cookie with that request? With the request, did a cookie come back? How do we know that the request, you can ask for the cookie? Because you go to the net-HTTP package, look at the index, look at type request, and you see all these methods associated with it. Beep, 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 beep. And one of them is right there, cookie. Right? You give it the name, gives you back a pointer to a cookie and an error. So that's cool. And then we check. If we didn't get a cookie back from this person, then we're going to create a new UUID, which is a universally unique ID. And we create a cookie, and then we store that ID there. And we also set these things, and we set the cookie. And then so far, all we're doing is printing out the cookie and sending the cookie back to the browser, right? Just writing that value back. But we could do something more. So what's the next thing we're going to do? We've already created up here type user, and we've created these two little things to sort of simulate a database or a table where we're storing which session ID is associated with which user, and which user ID is associated, sorry, which session ID is associated with which user ID, and which user ID is associated with which user. So one user could have different sessions over time. We could clear our sessions out over time, right? And then we're storing information about that person. So the next thing we might want to do is if the user already exists, we want to get the user. So var u user, we'll create a variable u of type user, and we'll use the comma OK idiom. And our cookie here is cookie.value, and if that is okay, all right, then we are going to get our user, and our user is db users un. And so, like, maybe I should call this user ID, because that's what we get back from db sessions. We give it the cookie value, and then that gives us back the user ID. And if that is okay, then we're going to say, okay, from DB users with this user ID, give us back the user. And I'm going to change this from that to just C, cookie value. Just abbreviate things. So that's idiomatic Go, to use concise variable naming. You expand the name of the variable for, clarity when necessary, but you try to keep it brief. And some general rules of thumb are, if this variable is like clear and it's just only being used in this one little area, you're going to keep it really brief. But if you have to use it across a wide range of areas, like the farther away from where you declare a variable, I declare this variable name to be of this type, holding values of this type, then the farther away from where you declare a variable, the more you want the name to be self-descriptive. And cool. So there, we're creating a user, and then we're checking to see if that cookie value is associated with a session. If it gives us back a user ID, then we get that user out, and we have that user. The comma OK idiom we've already explored, but how many people, let me just see a show of hands, would like to see a little bit about the comma OK idiom again? And so Golang Playground, we'll just explore that for a second. And if you look at it, Golang effective Go, so effective Golang, Golang effective whatever, you have right here, maybe it's in Golang spec. I always forget, did I read it here or did I read it there? Not there, apparently. Comma OK. So here's the comma OK idiom. So it's an actual thing they talk about. And it's just built into the language. So if we have the Golang Playground and we have a map, m:= map stores a string and an int, and then we could have m, Todd is equal to 46. Unbelievable. No, I'm actually 42. No, I'm 37. No, I'm 41. You take your own guess. Format and run it, and put my m in. M, and that's really messed up right there. Format it, run it. There we go. Cool. So that checked it. So how does the comma OK idiom work? So let's we could assign that value like z is equal to this. All right. So we're getting the value from the map and we're assigning it to z. And I need to use : format run. Same deal. Ooh, m Todd, because I completely destroyed. There we go. M Todd is equal to 41, and this is what I want here. Sorry. I don't like teaching off of notes, but this is complex enough that we have them tonight. There we go. Okay? And we could also do this. Well, z is the end of it. I should do this. Y. Z. So it gave me back it gave me back 0. Maps return the 0 value if it doesn't find a value. So how do you know if Gary maybe was just born, dude, and that's his age? He hasn't hit 1 yet. Right? Or how do you know that maybe Gary was never found? And so to solve that, they came up with the comma OK idiom. And so when you check a value to see if it's in a map, you could either just assign that value back or use that value, assign it to their variable, or use that value, or you could assign it to, there you could have 2 variables in the assignment, and one of them will say whether or not it was found, or if it's just giving you the 0 value. And so that's telling me, no, we didn't find anything there. But if Gary actually existed, there you go. True, we actually found that. So that's the comma OK idiom, and there's the comma OK, and this could be called anything. It doesn't have to be OK. All right, it's just a variable. Could have called it the anything OK idiom, but it's the comma OK idiom. So there's the comma OK idiom, and we use that. Get rid of all this stuff now. We use that right here, right? We pass in a value, gives us back a UUID, a value, and it says whether or not that was found. If this is true, this is a statement on one line, limits the scope of these variables to this block. So it's just keeping things narrowly scoped. And so we just do this one statement, and then we have a semicolon, and it's just an if statement. So that's just also how you could write an if statement. And so we're just saying if true or false here. And so if we actually found this, then we're going to take that value and pull out the user and assign the user here. If we hadn't found it, a string is stored there. It just would have given us an empty string. And then down here at the end, we could do TPL execute template, response writer, and do our index.goHTML template, and we could pass in that user. And then over on our index.goHTML template, we could say, hey, if there's a value in that user's first name of the struct we pass in, then we're going to show username. We'll show user, what do we have? Username. We'll show username, and that is equal to dot username, and then just like a little break. And then we'll do first, and that is equal to first. A little break. We'll do last. That's equal to last. And a little break. But we haven't created any users yet. So we want to be able to, hey, if there's a user, we'll show the user. But if either way, we should have something where a form could be shown. So we could have a form, and that action, we'll just have it come right back here. You don't have to specify that. It'll go right back to the route it originated from if you don't specify the action. So that's redundant. But I'll leave it there just because. But this is where it's going to send the process results. And then input type is going to be text. And name, we'll put username here. And then placeholder, we'll do email. And this one will be first. This one will be last. And this will be first name. This will be last name. And then we need a spit button. Anybody have questions about that? Like, how many people follow this logic as you watch it? Okay, cool. But it's a different thing to actually sit down and scratch it out from your head, right? But when you're following it, you're going to have the notes to do it. That's the important part. So there we've got our form. Now we need to process our form. And that's coming back here to our index file. Let's bring that up in my notes. And so to process that form, what kind of conditional logic are we going to do here? If the form is submitted, what's true? What are we looking for? What do we check?
If it's set.
We check if a request method is equal to post. Right? And so we could just type it in like that. Or we could also, if we want to use the constant from the HTTP package, we could do method post. Okay? So if the request method is equal to method post, and all you see when you go here is post. It's just a constant. So if the request method is equal to post, then we could grab all of our values. So username, which is email, is going to be request form value, username. And first is going to be request form value first. That's what I called it, first and last. And this one's going to be last. And then we can create a user, and the user is going to be equal to Username first, last. And then we could go to our DB sessions, and at this key, c.value, our cookie value, right? We're going to store the username, which is an email. So that's what we're using for our user ID. And in DB users, we're going to store, with that key, the user. So now we're set to have this person fill out a form. We're writing a cookie to their machine. They could fill out a form. We're associating who they are with, with the cookie. And we've got their information stored in our server. So if they came back later and passed us the cookie, we could say, oh, hey, is this you? Cool. This is you. I know that person.
Mine keeps telling me that the C, which is used on your lines 40, 44, and the below, C.
Yeah, I changed 31. I had it originally called cookie, but just kind of switched it up.
Can you go back to the HTML?
Yeah, back to the HTML. So if you're watching this online, we'll continue this in the next video. I don't know if I pointed this out in this video. I read this book. This is the last video or this video that I did it? Was it this video?
Last one.
Dude, that like amazes me. That's like where I'm kind of like, so I just had, this is just a personal reflection. Like if you're young, like choose something and focus on it. Like I've been listening to Angela Duckworth's talk on grit. Like she has a book out on grit and what makes people successful. It's they're gritty. They persevere. They choose something. They stick with it. I did web dev for a while, and then my job duty shifted. That's work. And they put me into online teaching for 10 years. Cause that's also something I was good at and had a passion for. So I did that for 10 years. And I've come back to web dev, and it's like, man, if I'd only stuck with web dev for those 10 years, like I would be like ninjutsu. But I also got a lot of really other good stuff out of everything else. So I have this, I don't know if that's advice or not, but life story. All right, we'll pick up in the next video.